This is social studies starting on page 196. Yesterday, the king read with us, and we talked about how the colonists were taking action and they were doing boycotts, which meant that they refused to buy British products. And they were so mad about something called the Stamp Act, which charged a tax on everything that was paper. It included legal documents, newspapers, licenses, and even playing cards. All right. Members also burned stamps and threatened stamp agents. The Daughters of Liberty, another part of the group, encouraged colonists to spin their own cloth instead of using British-made cloth. In March 1766, Great Britain was losing money due to the boycotts. It was the boycotts, more than Congress, that led to the repeal of the Stamp Act. The repeal marked a milestone for the colonies. It was the first time that representatives from the colonies had come together. It was also the first time that the British government backed down when met with colonial resistance. Along with the repeal, however, Parliament passed the Declaratory Act of 1766. The king feared that the colonies were becoming too strong. The Declaratory Act sent the message that the king retained the authority to make laws for the colonies. Although many agreed with the king, some British lawmakers did not. William Pitt, the elder, argued in front of Parliament that it was unconstitutional to tax the colonies. The Americans have not acted in all things with prudence, wisdom, and temper, coolness. They have been wronged. They have been driven to madness by injustice. Will you punish them for the madness you have caused? Rather let prudence and temper come first from this side. I will take the side for America, and she will follow that example. That's William Pitt's speech on the Stamp Act. Why were the colonists angry about the Stamp Act? Let's think back to it. It taxed them, and they didn't have any representatives in Congress. So they were being charged without their permission. They understood that some taxes would be necessary, but they were being charged without having anybody to take their side. The Townshend Acts. It has that SH in the middle. Townshend Acts. Repealing the Stamp Act meant that the colonists were no longer taxed by the British government. But colonists were concerned that the Declaratory Act stated that Parliament could make laws in the colonies in all cases whatsoever. These concerns were confirmed in the summer of 1767 when the Townshend Acts were passed. Named after Charles Townshend, the member of Parliament who proposed them, these were a series of acts that placed tariffs or taxes on products coming into the colonies. Glass, tea, lead, and paper were all taxed. Tariffs are usually used to control trade, but in this case, they were used to raise money for Great Britain. As part of the Townshend Acts, a strict system for customs or tax collections was established. The acts also lifted the British export tax on tea so that Great Britain could ship tea to the colonies for free. So that's not very fair. Other countries are being charged extra money to ship things into the colonies, but Great Britain isn't going to be charged that. They're not going to charge themselves. It's kind of sneaky. Once again, the colonists were taxed without representation. They reacted by boycotting British products, harassing tax collectors, and refusing to pay the taxes. British merchants began to lose money. To control the protests and scare the colonists, King George III sent warships into Boston Harbor in 1768. This did not deter the colonists. Merchants continued to lose money. British merchants asked their government to repeal the acts. As a result of the turmoil they caused, the Townshend Acts were repealed in April of 1770. Only a tax on tea remained. Parliament wanted to send the message that they had the right to tax the colonies. Although the repeal of the Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts were victories for the colonies, tensions were still high. British troops were in Boston, and colonists were paying a tax on their tea. Okay. Now, we will talk about this lesson with cause and effect on Monday when we're back in school. But you do have a quiz today, so good luck, and I hope that reading along from my book was helpful.